A viral sensation and the horrific truth behind the laughter. The internet is a strange, paradoxical place. One moment, it's a sea of noise and distraction. The next, it shines a searing light on a story that rips right through you, forcing you to see beyond the pixels and into a world of raw, unfiltered pain. Not long ago, the entire web was captivated by a peculiar, heartbreaking spectacle. A dog that had become a viral sensation. Everyone calling it the bee dog. The videos were everywhere, shared across every social media platform, showing a scrawny, emaciated body topped by a comically, absurdly swollen head. The visual was so jarring, so seemingly ridiculous, that people couldn't help but laugh. They found a grotesque humor in the stark, absurd contrast, giving the dog nicknames like Wagbee and Bee Dog because of its grotesquely bloated features. But I, like a few others in the rescue community who have seen too much, couldn't bring myself to laugh. There was something in its eyes, a profound, soul-crushing sadness, and a deep-seated pain hidden beneath the comical puffiness, suggested a far more sinister truth. While the world saw a viral meme, a fleeting moment of entertainment, I saw a living creature silently enduring unimaginable agony. The laughter of the crowd felt like a mocking echo, a cruel soundtrack to a silent tragedy. The initial theories from the armchair experts and well-meaning observers online were simple enough. A bee sting, a snake bite, maybe a severe allergic reaction to something it ate, innocent guesses, the kind we all make when we want to believe that the world isn't so full of deliberate cruelty. People hoped that a little time and some rest would make it all better. But the details felt wrong. To me, the shape of the swelling, the sheer solid mass of its head felt different from a typical venomous bite. It wasn't just a simple, localized puffiness. It was a total, suffocating engulfment. It was a suspicion that gnawed at my conscience. A gut feeling that there was something far more malicious at play, something that transcended a mere accident of nature. The problem was, this all happened in a small, remote village in Huanggang, Hubei, hundreds of miles away from any major city, a place beyond the reach of most. The original video was shared without a specific location, and the person who filmed it couldn't be reached. For a while, the bee dog remained just that, a viral image of a suffering animal that no one could reach. A silent, desperate cry for help lost in the noise of the internet. But then a glimmer of hope pierced through the digital fog. A determined volunteer from Wuhan, driven by the same unsettling suspicion that I felt, decided to act. He didn't just talk about it or share the video. He packed his car and embarked on a monumental journey, driving over 300 kilometers from the bustling, high-tech heart of Wuhan to the remote, forgotten countryside of Huanggang. The drive was long and grueling, a solitary vigil against the vastness of the Chinese landscape. He drove for hours, the scenery shifting from towering skyscrapers to endless fields. His determination fueled by a single, terrifying thought: that the dog's suffering was a direct result of human cruelty, and that he might be the only one who could prove it. His mission was simple, yet monumental: to find this dog, to uncover the truth behind its swollen head, and to get it the immediate, life-saving help it so desperately needed. He spent days searching. A quiet, methodical detective, following the thinnest of clues. He scoured every single one of the 8 villages near the reported location, talking to locals, showing them the pictures and videos on his phone. It was a search filled with dead ends, confused stares, and moments of utter despair. He started to lose hope, the vastness of the countryside swallowing his efforts. He began to wonder if he had been chasing a ghost, a mirage created by the internet. But in a small, forgotten corner of one of the villages, tucked away behind a row of dilapidated houses and a mound of discarded trash, he finally found it. The viral star, the bee dog, was curled up in a secluded spot, a victim of its own notoriety, just as lost and alone as the videos had suggested. The sight of it in person was a stark, brutal blow to the heart. The laughter-inducing puffiness was not funny. It was terrifyingly real, a grotesque physical manifestation of its silent, enduring suffering. It lay there, exhausted and defeated, a silent victim of a world that had laughed at its pain. The volunteer approached cautiously, his own heart pounding with a mixture of dread and resolve. As he got closer, his worst fears were confirmed. The swelling was not from a venomous bite or an allergic reaction. It was caused by a tightly singed collar, a simple, cruel piece of rope or leather that was slowly, mercilessly suffocating. The collar had been tied too tight when the dog was a puppy, and as the dog grew, the collar had become a deadly noose, cutting off circulation and causing the massive, painful swelling that had captured the internet's attention. The flesh beneath the rope was rotten, black, and putrid, oozing with a foul-smelling fluid. This wasn't an accident. The bee dog was a victim of prolonged, deliberate torment. The volunteer's heart broke completely as he took in the full extent of the horror. The meat around its neck was rotting, a festering wound that reeked of decay, a smell that would haunt him long after he had rescued it. He could only imagine the unimaginable, constant pain the dog had been in for weeks, perhaps even months. The owner, a ghost of a person, a character of pure malevolence in this tragic tale, provided the final, heartbreaking detail. The volunteer learned from local residents that this beautiful dog had an owner, a person who had tied the collar in the first place. But not long ago, that owner had grown tired of the putrid smell emanating from the rotting wound on its neck. So they did what any truly heartless person would do. They kicked it out of the house. The dog became a true stray, abandoned not for being lost, but for the very suffering its owner had inflicted. The thought was sickening, a moment of profound anger and despair that transcended all logic. How could someone so easily discard a life they had already so cruelly tormented? The dog was an innocent creature, a victim of an owner's neglect who was then punished for the very consequences of that neglect. Despite its pain and terror, the dog was incredibly gentle. It was as if it knew the people who had finally found it were there to help. Never growled, never tried to snap or bite, even when the volunteer, with a heavy heart, began to gently clean and treat its horrific wounds with antiseptic wipes he had in his car. It lay there patiently, a picture of profound trust, quietly enduring the stinging pain, its eyes fixed on its rescuer. It was a truly remarkable animal, a testament to a spirit that refused to break even in the face of such betrayal. Its quiet strength was a challenge, a promise that it would not be defeated. The volunteer, having confirmed the horror, knew that the dog's fight was far from over. This was only the beginning of a long, arduous journey. His first priority was to get this suffering animal to the clinic, a desperate race against the finality of death.